stand to do something for me on the evening game Saturday. San Francisco and Green Bay, and the quarterback Jordan Love. Watching him, I cannot be the only person making the observation that he does what you've always told me quarterbacks are not supposed to do. He throws that ball falling back off his back foot all the time. How does he make it work?
All right, so it's really their first snap of the game versus Dallas, and he has got that unique ability, Greeny, to physically be so good where, while, yes, schematically or mechanically you sit there and go, you're fading away, that's not great, he's got two things that stand out for him in the ability to do it, okay? Okay, number one, I want everyone to understand that there's got to be a background of baseball for him. Now, this is parts of this stuff that I do not love. I've talked about him mechanically all season long. Number one, I don't love the fact that Jordan Love a couple times gets to the top of his drop and he's basically standing straight up, okay? That's not a great base if you have to play very sudden. Both of his feet are off the ground. I don't love that. Now, you get away with it at times, but can you against an elite fundamental pass rush like the San Francisco 49ers? Now, going to the throwing motion, two things are going to stand out. Number one, this is why he's got to say there's a baseball background, because even though he is falling backwards here with his body, you see how that sidearm whip happens? I want everyone at home to think of a second base and shortstop, right? And that shortstop is getting to second base, catches it, and it comes from here. Jordan Love has a whip throw where that ball can get from his ear, and it's a whip. He doesn't need his lower half to throw on a consistent basis. And the second thing is this, again, even though his body is moving backwards momentum-wise, he's what they call a rotational thrower. Jordan Palmer is great with this. Quincy Avery is great with this stuff. He doesn't necessarily push with his throwing motion. He rotates around his body to throw. So that's why, even though momentum and mechanically you're sitting there go, there's flaws in that, the whip throwing motion and then the ability to rotate and throw, he doesn't need his lower half. Now, this is what I do know. Matt LaFleur, Kyle Shanahan, all those guys, they love that quality in a quarterback because they think it allows you to throw in muddy pockets. That's what stands out. Jordan Love, mechanically, while flawed still, has the ability when the pocket is bad or there's chaos around him, because he has that whip throwing motion and he's this rotational thrower, he's able to operate in that stuff. Now, let me say this. You love that stuff. It's an awesome quality. It's great. It's also a slippery slope, because while you have moments and stretches where you can get away with it, when you play against great defenses and guys like Fred Warner who have great vision and stuff, you might think you can, and you do it when it's not needed, and it also can become the reason why you struggle, you turn the ball over, or it's a fatal flaw.
That's so well done, and I'm so glad you did that. I asked Dan all the way back to Monday about this, because I can't be the only fan who's watching that game thinking he's about to throw a pick.
Right.
This ball is going to get intercepted, and then it winds up being a dart exactly where he wants it.
He's in that utopia world where 9 out of 10 times, 9.5 out of 10 times it works out, and you're holding your breath for a moment when it doesn't.
He's so talented. All right, that's really well done. Thank you. I want to turn to something else now. One of the AFC matchups I think is fascinating, but the long and storied history of pro football has been defined by playoff rivalries between legendary quarterbacks. When I was growing up in the 1970s, that rivalry was Terry Bradshaw and Ken Stabler in the AFC. They met in 5 consecutive postseasons from 72 through 76. Stabler replaced Darryl LaMonica in the game in 72. That was the one that ended in the Immaculate Reception. Bradshaw won 3 of the 5 meetings. 2 of those culminated in Pittsburgh winning Super Bowl titles. You fast forward a generation or so. The next one that really marked the NFL was Brett Favre and Steve Young, the next great quarterback rivalry. The Packers and Niners met in the playoffs 4 straight years, 95, 96, 97, 98. Favre won 3 of those, the second of which led to Green Bay's first championship since 1967. Then, of course, the rivalry that marked the most recent era of pro football, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. They met a record 5 times in the playoffs between 2003 and 2015. Brady's Patriots won the first 2. Peyton won the last 3. 2 of those came with the Broncos. The winner of that game wound up winning the Super Bowl 4 out of 5 times. So why do I mention this? Because this Sunday we get Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen for the 3rd time in the playoffs. This one's in Buffalo for the first time. We know that Kansas City eliminated the Bills each of the first 2. the second of which Allen walked off the field with a 3-point lead with 13 seconds remaining. And that is why I have been repeatedly saying that Josh Allen has everything in the world at stake this weekend. Look at the numbers he has put up. He has basically been Mahomes' equal in these meetings, in the playoffs. But what they've not gotten is the biggest piece of it. They've not gotten the win when they need one. And so if he is going to stake a claim to being Mahomes' rival in this era, this generation, this is his chance to do it. Here's what I mean by this, guys. Right now, there are 3 legitimate rivals, or 3 candidates to be the rival to Mahomes. Mahomes is the immortal of this generation. At this moment, there is no question of that. Joe Burrow has a legitimate claim. He's beaten Mahomes in his building. Lamar Jackson has a legitimate claim. He's about to be a 2-time MVP, and he may well win the Super Bowl this year. Allen has no proof. Allen has nothing he can stand on beyond the belief of some people, and I'm one of them, that he's legitimately that good. This is his chance to prove it. That's why I say, Kmart, everything is at stake for Josh Allen this Sunday.
And Josh Allen knows it. Because Josh Allen has told me, I know what's said about me. I know people think that all I do is turn the football over, and I don't care because I know my talent. But to your point, it's not just about talent. We talked about how you can be talented in the NFL, but it's about those moments. This is a moment for Josh Allen. He finally gets Patrick Mahomes on his home turf at a time where the Kansas City Chiefs, they're not they used to have this aura where it's like, oh, damn, we got to play the Chiefs. It's different now. And the fact that the Bills, unlike a lot of teams at 6-6, they were buried, but they figured it out over the last month and a half. They figured out how to fix this offense. And for Josh to understand, he can be Superman in moments, but he doesn't have to be Superman for 60 minutes.
Yeah, that's why I think it's important Joe Brady is his offensive coordinator right now to take a lot of that pressure off Josh Allen. This is the biggest game of his career. And the reason why I don't have him right now as that quarterback rivalry with Patrick Mahomes is because of a guy named Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow having the opportunity to actually beat Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game and make it to a Super Bowl. But you look at the stakes and you look at a Kansas City Chiefs team, and Dan, you spoke about this a few weeks ago. This is the most beatable Kansas City has been since these two have faced off in the playoffs. So you have them at home on your field in Buffalo, New York. It's going to be cold, but hell, Kansas City just played a game with negative 30 wind chill.
Yep.
So they're going to be all right in those regards. You should be able to get this done. But I don't think it's going to be as easy as a lot of people think so because of the injuries defensively for the Buffalo Bills.
There's no reason to think any of this will be easy. In the meantime, Mahomes, of course, is the unquestioned great of this generation. I know, Dan, you have some tape on him as well, because the idea that anyone would count out a team that has a good defense and has this guy playing quarterback is ridiculous. Talk to me about what you're seeing in Mahomes right now.
What Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Matt Nagy have done is really identified going into the playoffs, like, this is where we're weak. And we're going to make sure that the weakness doesn't beat us, and then we're going to build into some of the strengths. So 12 personnel, they're playing with more tight ends, 2 guys. The second thing is they're chipping those tackles. And then they're saying, hey, Travis Kelce, you have the best feel when it comes to pass catchers in the NFL. And Kelce does a great job of seeing where the bad guys are. We call those defenders. And instead of running towards color, sitting away from it. And Patrick and him really have started to get back onto that same page. This time, 12 personnel again, 1 back, 2 tight ends. They motion Travis out to create a matchup. That's Pacheco. He's going to pass protect now. They fake it to a wide receiver. And again, you're going to see this 3-level concept for Kansas City all game long. And there's Kelce again, seeing bad defenders, and instead of running towards them, fitting it into that window by Patrick Mahomes and him and being on that same page. That's going to be a huge part. 13 personnel. We talked about those receivers. They can't catch. Well, great. We'll put tight ends on the field. 4 strong. Guys, it's the same pass concept consistently. A flat route, a hook route, and a corner route, or a pylon route. And this time, Patrick sees, okay, go deep because of that trailing man coverage. Huge part of this game is how Buffalo defensively defends the tight end group from Kansas City and how Kansas City helps those tackles in pass rush. Let me say this about this matchup, okay? We're blessed and lucky that we get this.
Yeah.
He's got a chance to write the story of, I might be the greatest Buffalo Bill ever in this next 2 or 3 weeks. All due respect to Jim Kelly. Jim Kelly never won it. Never got it done.
Yeah.
He's been the biggest lightning rod in the NFL this year. He is in that state where people want to see him fail, and if you are a Bills fan, you think the world of him. He's got a chance this weekend to knock off the champion. That guy, you got to go through him and he's one of the 2 or 3 guys that can.
That can do it, yeah.
Yeah, I think what's unique about Kansas City is like they have identified their team and the guys that they can count on.
Yeah.
So you put more tight ends on the football field. Rashee Rice is a guy that Patrick Mahomes can trust, and also Travis Kelce. You've seen that in the first game versus the Miami Dolphins.
Look, they're all the matchups this weekend have all the
so
makings.
good.
But this